The applause echoed through the glass-walled boardroom while Nathan stood alone in the hallway staring at the woman he had loved for 12 years. Rebecca had just closed a staggering $33 million deal, and everyone inside celebrated her as the unstoppable executive who had changed the future of the company. Yet only minutes later, the same woman looked at her husband with cold, exhausted eyes and told him their life together had become a burden she no longer wanted to carry. If you suddenly became invisible to the person who once believed in your every dream, what would you do? Would you fight to stay, or would you quietly walk away with the little dignity you had left? Nathan never imagined that the happiest day of his wife's career would become the darkest day of his own life. Their story had begun years earlier in a small town in Ohio, long before luxury offices, expensive suits, and million-dollar contracts entered their lives. Rebecca had been a brilliant young woman with impossible ambitions, while Nathan worked as a financial analyst whose greatest gift was seeing possibilities hidden inside ordinary numbers. He never wanted attention. He simply wanted to build something meaningful beside the woman he loved. When Rebecca dreamed of becoming one of the youngest executives in her industry, Nathan sacrificed promotion after promotion to support her. He stayed home when she needed someone to organize paperwork through sleepless nights. He quietly corrected presentations, rebuilt financial models, researched competitors, and even developed business strategies that she later presented with confidence. He never cared whose name appeared on the slides because he believed marriage meant winning together. As Rebecca climbed higher, life slowly changed in ways neither of them noticed at first. Invitations to elite events replaced simple dinners. Interviews replaced quiet weekends. Luxury replaced laughter. Nathan became less of a husband in Rebecca's eyes and more like part of the furniture in their beautiful home outside Chicago. Friends praised her brilliance without ever realizing the quiet man beside her had spent years strengthening the foundation beneath every success. Nathan never corrected anyone. Love, he believed, did not keep score. The pressure surrounding the $33 million acquisition changed everything. Rebecca spent months living inside conference rooms, airports, and hotel suites. Nathan barely saw her, but every night he stayed awake reviewing confidential financial projections she emailed him under the excuse that she wanted another opinion. He discovered flaws in the merger, identified hidden liabilities, and built a completely different negotiation framework that protected the company from enormous future losses. Rebecca copied many of his recommendations into her final proposal. She thanked him with a tired smile, promising they would finally take a vacation after everything was over. Instead, success transformed gratitude into arrogance. The evening the deal officially closed, Rebecca arrived home carrying flowers from the board members and congratulations from television interviews. She looked around the house as if she had already outgrown it. Then, without raising her voice, she calmly explained that she needed a different life, one surrounded by people who matched her new level of success. She said Nathan lacked ambition, that he had become comfortable hiding behind her achievements, and that she no longer wanted to drag their marriage into her future. Before midnight, 2 suitcases sat beside the front door. Nathan walked out carrying only his clothes, family photographs, and the wedding ring he could not bring himself to remove. He rented a modest motel room 3 towns away. There were no dramatic phone calls, no angry social media posts, no attempts to embarrass Rebecca publicly. He simply disappeared. The silence hurt more than shouting ever could. During those lonely nights, he questioned every sacrifice he had made. Had supporting someone else's dream erased his own identity? Had kindness been mistaken for weakness? Sometimes the strongest people are not those who fight the loudest, but those who suffer quietly without allowing bitterness to poison their hearts. 3 days later, Rebecca arrived at corporate headquarters expecting another celebration. Instead, the legal department requested her immediate presence. The acquisition documents required one final review before the funds could be fully released. Confidently, she opened the thick binder containing hundreds of pages that had built her greatest professional victory. As she flipped through the documents, something unusual caught her attention. Small technical notes referenced the architect of the financial risk model. Internal revisions credited the creator of the negotiation structure. Strategic appendices listed the original analyst who had designed the protection clauses. Again and again, on page after page, appeared the same name: Nathan Carter, His name wasn't hidden. It wasn't an accident. Company policy required every substantial contribution to be documented for legal accountability. Because the deal had become so valuable, every revision had been carefully archived. Rebecca suddenly realized that the board had always known who had built the invisible framework protecting the acquisition. They simply assumed the married couple worked as one team. The room grew painfully quiet as senior executives explained that Nathan's models had likely saved the company hundreds of millions of dollars by preventing disastrous liabilities hidden inside the acquisition. One director even remarked that Nathan had declined multiple offers to become chief strategist because he wanted Rebecca to shine. Another executive admitted they had privately admired his humility for years. Rebecca felt the air leave her lungs. The success she had celebrated as entirely her own had carried her husband's fingerprints across every page. She drove back to their empty house with trembling hands. Nathan's coffee mug remained beside the sink. His reading glasses still rested on the bookshelf. The silence felt heavier than ever before. For the first time in years, she noticed everything he had quietly done. The repaired cabinets, the handwritten notes encouraging her before presentations, the organized files that had somehow always appeared exactly when she needed them. None of it had happened by magic. Love had been working silently while ambition demanded the spotlight. Rebecca found Nathan volunteering at a neighborhood community center, helping unemployed veterans prepare resumes and financial plans. Even after losing his home and marriage, he was still giving pieces of himself to strangers. She walked toward him carrying tears she could no longer hide. Pride had finally surrendered to truth. She admitted she had confused recognition with value and success with greatness. She had chased applause so fiercely that she failed to hear the quiet heartbeat standing beside her all those years. Nathan listened without anger. The pain remained, but hatred never found a place inside him. Forgiveness, he explained, did not erase broken trust overnight. It simply opened a door where healing might someday begin. Some wounds need honesty before they can become scars, and some relationships survive only when both people finally see each other without the blinding light of ego. Months later, they did not return to the glamorous version of life they once lived. Instead, they built something stronger. Rebecca learned to celebrate the people behind every victory instead of claiming every success alone. Nathan accepted a leadership role where his talents were finally recognized openly, yet he never stopped serving others in quiet ways. Together, they discovered that the greatest achievements are never measured by contracts worth millions of dollars, but by the people who remain beside you when every headline disappears. Before this story ends, tell us in the comments, have you ever seen someone realize the true value of a person only after losing them? And if this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe so more people can discover the life-changing power of humility, gratitude, forgiveness, and second chances.